Hello and welcome to another video, and today we are going to talk about Team USA from 2026 for the World Baseball Classic.
The day. Wow, that was awesome.
So you probably, if you saw my latest videos back then, when I started like the channel and all stuff, because I also did mention the 2023 Team USA for the World Baseball Classic because I actually went to like the very first game, the Team USA against Great Britain, and the only thing I went to the game because it was actually here in Arizona, playing at Chase Field where the Diamondbacks play and stuff. And so, when I heard enough of like, oh, they're playing in Arizona at Chase Field, I gotta get my hands on tickets, buy with my dad and stuff, and it was a cool experience and stuff. I never been to these games before, um, so now I have and stuff, and then now hearing about this team for this year as well, because again, this team is loaded with great players and stuff. We're gonna go with the roster as well and stuff, and then obviously enough of I want to get the same experience for this team and stuff, because again, the World Baseball Classic is just it's very it gets you excited, so fortunately, I'm trying to like make sure enough of like, oh, and like, if they're playing in Chase Field again, like I'm going a game, like that's what it is and stuff. Like I honestly don't care what the team is, like what players on the team or whatever and stuff. It's Team USA. Like, come on. Like, this is gonna be fun. I had fun the last time. I'm gonna be fun again and stuff. But fortunately enough, for Team USA, for in Pool B, I guess, and stuff, is going to play in Houston, or like in Texas, Houston, whatever and stuff. So I was a little bummed about that. And it's like, okay and stuff. And then some of the games are also going to be like in Miami, at the Marlins Stadium as well. So it's like, okay. And then I saw some like practice games and stuff, and mostly of them are in Arizona. So because of spring training is also in Arizona, because like even where I lived before with my parents and stuff, Pure Sports Complex is not even that far where we live. Fortunately, when I looked up what Team USA were playing for, like, like expedition games, like their practice games and all that stuff, and I saw two of them and stuff, and there were just, again, they were playing, Alma B games. I mean, Alma B teams, but just for like fun practice, get some, batting, games in there and stuff. So I saw the Giants and the Rockies. Fortunately, they had played. This is way like before and stuff. Those games already happened. So the only thing about this video is just I want to tell you my experience again, because I did went to one of those games and stuff. I went to the very first game they had, and it was the Giants game, and that was like on March 3rd and stuff. I went with my dad. Again, it was a fun experience and stuff. Really, really cool and stuff. So yeah. So again, I went to another Team USA game and stuff, and I enjoy baseball. Like I'm going to enjoy baseball no matter what it is and stuff. And fortunately, seeing these players just on this team with the same, being part of Team USA is super cool. Like I don't know why I'm in like in a baseball geek in a way and stuff. These are fun things to think about and stuff. So and stuff. So now we're gonna like go down with the roster and stuff and just see, like, obviously we're gonna get some new faces, we're gonna get the same faces and stuff. So yeah, so we're gonna start with the we're gonna talk about everybody on here. I'm not doing part 2, part 3 like last time and stuff. We're doing all in one video and stuff. Hopefully I do my best. Anyways and stuff. So yeah, so we got our pitchers and stuff. We got David Bender, is, he did it last time and stuff. It's interesting enough for him is when last time he was on the Pirates, now he's on the Yankees. So it's interesting to see like different, players on a different team and still play on this team and stuff. And then we got Matthew Broyd. We got Garrett Clevenger, Clay Holmes, Griffin Gaggs, Brad Keller, Clayton Kershaw, Nolan McLean, Mason Miller, Paul Skeens, Tarek Skubal, Gabe Spear, Michael Waka, Logan Webb, Garrett Whitlock, and Ryan Yarburn. If you really think about like the starting pitchers and stuff, like Paul Skeens and Tarek Skubal and Logan Webb, like that's like really really good. 3 starting pitchers off the bat and stuff. Like you got like number 1 and like number 2, like the best pitcher in MLB and stuff, and these are the 2 like pitchers won Cy Young. So it is absolutely insane just to have these guys on the team and stuff. I thinking like I'm. It's funny enough, like Tarek Skubal is a really good pitcher, but I'm excited to see Paul Skeens no matter what because he just throw heaters and stuff. And then seeing Logan Webb, it's really really cool and stuff. I saw him when I went to Oracle Park and stuff, and he did a great job, and he's just a great pitcher and stuff. The rest are great pitchers as well and stuff. Like it's interesting to see Mason Miller on this team as well and stuff. It's just like these pitchers just like they're fun to watch. They throw heaters, they do good, like they're really good. Like these are like one of the like the best pitchers we're going to have on this roster, like no doubt about it. It's better than 2023, I would guarantee of that and stuff. So yeah, and then we got our 2 catchers and stuff, Cal Rowling, the Big Dipper and stuff. Really excited to see what he can do for the other games and stuff, because it's crazy enough of this guy hit 60 plus home runs just last year and stuff. And then we got Will Smith, and he did it. Will Smith did it last time in 2023, so it's cool to see him again and stuff. And then we got our infielders. We got Alex Bregman, Gunnar Henderson, Enny Clement, Bryce Trang, Paul Goldschmidt, Bobby Wood Jr., and then my boy, the chosen one, Bryce Harper and stuff. So now we're seeing Bobby Wood Jr. This is the 2nd time now and stuff. Paul Goldschmidt, this is the 3rd time and stuff. And then the rest is like new. Well, I guess Alex Bregman was part of the 2017 USA. So that's that. It's interesting seeing Gunnar Henderson as well, because obviously for Bobby Wood Jr., because he's going to get more playing time. Nolan Arenado was playing third base, and he was like the backup, whatever, and stuff. And then, so it's actually pretty cool enough of now he's just a lot better than last time, and he's going to get more playing time at shortstop and stuff. So it's interesting to see Gunnar Henderson and stuff. He might play like third base or second base, matter enough of what they want to go for and stuff. And it's just so interesting to see like the number 1 and number 2, like the best shortstop on this team, and they're both shortstop players and stuff. It's just the coolest thing about baseball and stuff. And now they're like friends, be on the same team and all this stuff. And then we got our outfielders and then our DH as well. But outfielders is gonna be Brian Buxton, Pete Crow Armstrong, PCA, and then we got our captain Aaron Judge and stuff. Corbin Carroll was being part of this team as well, but fortunately he got injured. He's like the only representative for the Diamondbacks, but fortunately, injuries gonna happen and stuff. So he got replaced from Roman Anthony, so he's part of the team. And then our DH is Kyle Schwarber and stuff. And then fortunately for Kyle Schwarber, he's been on the team before. This is like his second time and stuff. So it's pretty cool and stuff. We'll go to the managers and coaches and stuff. I'm not gonna say all the coaches because some of them I have no idea, and some of them have weird names, and I don't want to say those weird names and stuff. But I would absolutely say the ones like I recognize, from like just MLB players and all these typical things and stuff. Just recognize their names and stuff. Obviously enough, Mark DeRosa is the manager again. He was manager last time and stuff. Seeing him again is super cool and stuff. I honestly enough, he's like pretty much a great manager for this team and stuff. Other coaches I recognize is like Michael Young is the bench coach and stuff. Brian McCain as the assistant coach. Matt Holliday as the hitting coach and stuff. Annie Patet being the pitching coach and stuff, and then David Ross as the bullpen coach and stuff. And the rest, I never heard of them, so so I'm not gonna mention them, but they are part of the team. That's what it is. But anyways, yeah. So that is Team USA. I would also talk about my experience when I went and stuff. This is the batting lineup. The game I went against, they were against the Giants and stuff. But first off, we got Bobby Wood Jr., Bryce Harper, Aaron Judge, Kyle Schwarber, Alex Bregman, Kyle Rowling, Roman Anthony, Brian Buxton, Bryce Trang, and Paul Skeens on the mound and stuff. That was the lineup of what it is and stuff. And then fortunately enough, they even had like other players were playing on that game and stuff. I was really thinking about of like, man, like who else did not play and stuff. Like obviously enough, the other people I definitely recognized when they pitched the game I went and stuff. Obviously Paul Skeens started and he like pitched for like 3 innings and stuff. I thinking Matthew Boyd pitch and stuff. I think Mason Miller went out there and stuff. And then I thinking the other people I saw was, I'm trying to look at the roster, seeing like their names. Griffin Gags pitch and stuff. And then I thinking Gabe Spear also pitch at the very end. And also interesting enough, it went like an extra inning as well. They won like 10 innings and stuff. Because it's weird because like at the very end, because obviously the Team USA beat the Giants like 15-1, like they clobbered them and stuff. So it's funny till like maybe like I don't know, it was like the 8th inning or 9th inning and stuff. Fortunately, the announcer just says like, hey, like there's like an extra inning at the 10th inning or whatever and stuff. And then my dad was like asking me like, did I hear that correctly? Like like did she say like there's an extra inning in the 10th and stuff? And to me, I thought like that's very odd in a way and stuff. I specifically thought enough of there's like a fun like event or showing like something at the 10th inning like after the game was over and stuff. That's what I thought and stuff, but I was completely wrong and it was just, just an extra inning in the game. I never seen that before, but again, this is just practice. It's not really like a real game or anything, so they can just do whatever they want and stuff. So that is that. So yeah. Again, the other people I probably saw as well. Pretty much everybody played besides Will Smith. Like, cause Cal Rowling played the whole game and stuff. So I didn't saw like Paul Goldschmidt, Ernie Clement, Gunnar Henderson, and stuff, and then even PCA and stuff. So pretty much everybody besides Will Smith and some of the other, starting and bullpen pitchers as well, because obviously there's 30 players and cannot have just like all 30 players to play on the same game and stuff. So, again, it was a cool experience and stuff. I'm excited for Team USA. Today is going to be their first game against Brazil and stuff. I actually looked up of who's actually starting, and that's going to be Logan Webb and stuff. Hopefully he does well and stuff, and we get our first victory and stuff. It's just so interesting, the difference of 2023 and now and stuff. It's cool to have like Aaron Judge to be the captain of this team and stuff. I was more surprised enough of he be part of this team and stuff, and then seeing Bryce Harper on this team as well and stuff, because I would love just to see, because before Mike Trout was on the team in 2023, and Bryce Harper was going to be part of the team, and then he got injured, and then he can't play and stuff. So now he's playing. So like we got like Bryce Harper and Aaron Judge to be of that. I would love to see Bryce Harper playing with Mike Trout on Team USA and stuff. Fortunately enough, Mike Trout's not on this team. Another thing I was just want to mention, just a little fun facts and stuff. For Matt Holliday being one of the coaches and stuff, when I was at the game against the Giants and stuff, there was players I never heard of and stuff, and I realized enough of like, are these like regular players from like other teams like are just kind of like getting some playing time as because they didn't had like numbers or like last name on their back of like their USA jerseys and stuff. So I thought that was odd in my opinion and stuff. And then I basically realized enough when I was watching the highlights. um there were actually Giants players on the other side of the team and stuff, so they came up to USA and given some playing time and stuff. So I thought that was very interesting, because the only thing I know that because at the extra Team USA players were wearing Giants helmet, so that's how I was supposed to know that and stuff. And then they did the same thing with the Rockies as well, because for Matt Holliday having two sons are now going to play in MLB. One of them is Jackson Holliday on the Orioles, and the other is on the Rockies, and he got some playing time with Team USA. So having a little father and son moment, it's actually pretty cool and stuff. So I just thought of that and stuff. And then also, the same game I went and stuff, even David Bender did pitch that game I went to. Even his brother also pitched that day as well as a Giant. So I thought that was very interesting. I didn't know that before till the highlights mention it and stuff. So I just thought that was like a cool fact out there and stuff, because you never know these things and stuff. So that's pretty much it. Team USA, hopefully they win it all and stuff. It's crazy enough of like, they've been in 2017, they won it. They've been in it last time, they lost and stuff. The Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani matchup was probably the insane thing ever happened in World Baseball Classic and stuff. But it's just like, it's good for like cool to see it, but like no, because like Team USA lost, you know, like just like it killed like at that moment and stuff. But it was still cool to see and stuff because you're never gonna see that, but fortunately you are going to because you know now Otani is on the Dodgers now. So it'd be crazy enough of Team USA to get in it again and stuff, and then still probably lose. You know, who knows? But a lot of people are saying enough of there are one of the favorite players. I mean, favorite teams to win all and stuff. So it'd be excited. I would definitely say this team is way much better than 2023 and stuff. I'm not saying of other players on 2023 was bad or anything and stuff. Like I love like the other players like Kyle Tucker, Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, all stuff. Mike Trout, you know. There's a lot of other players I really enjoyed and stuff. It's interesting now of Nolan Arenado is going to be Puerto Rico and stuff. It's good for him, you know, representing for what he, you know, again, country and stuff. It's like, there's sometimes it's like so weird, you know, seeing like Austin Wells on the Dominican Republic and stuff, and he's actually from like the US, like he's from US and stuff. He's actually from Arizona as well. I didn't even think about that. And stuff. So it's just so interesting, but fortunately enough, why he's playing on the Dominican Republic is because his mother is from there and stuff. So it's like the same thing like Freddie Freeman. It's like he's from here in the US, but his parents are Canada and stuff. So it's just interesting. This is going to be a lot of fun. The World Baseball Classic is just a fun event. Just enjoy some baseball and stuff. And a lot of people get into it so much and stuff. This is exciting. I love it. Till time of, I don't remember 2013 very much and stuff, but 2017 was excited. 2023 was excited. And this is going to be even more exciting and stuff, and you should too and stuff, you know. Root for your country and stuff. It's cool, it's baseball, you know, everything and stuff. And I would love to see my boy Bryce Harper hitting some bombs with Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge and Bobby Jr. All these players. Yeah, Team USA, let's go represent. Hopefully you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe for more content like this. Have a nice day, and thank you for watching.